Hello everybody, Joshua back here again with another video, and I'm here with my official review for Arrow Season 4, Episode 14, titled Code of Silence. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out, because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into the newest episode of CW's Arrow. Now, last week was a very interesting week. We had a whole bunch of League of Assassins type shit going down on freaking Star City streets. Now the battle has been contained into a more metaphorical kind of a battle within Oliver Queen. Now, obviously, as we already know, Damien Darhk now has the ability to basically destroy Oliver at any point in time, considering that Malcolm Merlyn has given the information that William, a boy who lives in Central City, is actually the illegitimate child of Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow. So, of course, that's a whole debacle within itself. On top of that, we have this subplot with the villains of the week that Hive has, I guess, acquired, which are titled the Demolition Team, if you will, which are a group of villain-esque characters who are going around trying to destroy buildings and pretty much take out all of Team Green Arrow with accidental occasions, which are very weird and cheesy, but I'll get into that in a second. Of course, we also have the sub/subber plot, if you will, with Felicity and Oliver's engagement party, and of course, Oliver's plan to become mayor. So, of course, there's a lot of things going on in this episode, and surprisingly enough, with all the cheesy things that go on in Arrow alone, this was a pretty good episode. I mean, Arrow, ever since last week, has been on a roll on really good episodes. I mean, like, the whole episode prior, which was really cool and epic. I mean, we had a cool battle with, Oliver against League of Assassins and stuff like that, and Nisa Al Ghul came back, and I always love the actress who portrays her. I mean, like I said last review, I wish she was Talia Al Ghul for, the entire DC universe. Hell, put her in the movies, please, but whatever. But this episode was a lot more grounded, and I like that, and I felt like that's where Arrow flourishes. I hate it when they try to overcompensate and they try to make themselves feel on par with the Flash, and I hate that, because the Flash is its own entity and it has its own separate universe. Even though they're connected and even though they live within the same world, it's its own thing, and I hate it when Arrow tries to do that. I know a lot of fans feel divice on this. There's a division within the fan base where people are like, no, I like realistic Arrow, no, I like comic booky Arrow. For me, I wish they would just find a way to ground the show that makes sense for these characters to be relevant in their own city, because it's kind of like the Batman-Superman thing, where it's like, when you have Superman who's like right there, why is it a point to care about Batman? So you have to find a way to make Batman relevant, which of course writers do perfectly. So that's what I wish they would do with Arrow, and they did that with this episode. They had a compact team of assassin-esque, like, demolition characters, which were cheesy. I mean, I will admit the villains of this weekly episode was pretty cheesy. I mean, for Christ's sake, they had weapons that were basically hardware. I mean, like, you could go to Home Depot and beat these freaking villains, for Christ's sake. I mean, like, one of them has a nail gun, the other one has, like, flash bombs and, I guess, a hammer or a wrench or something. I don't know. And then the other guy has, like, a sledgehammer. I mean, these guys are pretty terrible at being villains. However, it's still cool that they freaking had the balls to just ground an episode and have some really cool epic fights, because let's put it out there, Season 4 hasn't given us the best Arrow fights that we Arrow fans deserve. I mean, like, there's been a lot of epic fights in the past previous seasons. This season hasn't given us that. However, this episode's fighting and action and stunt work was really freaking great. It was definitely on par with the rest of the show, and I really liked and enjoyed every fight. I mean, Oliver's fights, Diggo's fights, even Thea's fights and Laurel's fights, they were just well choreographed and amazingly photographed. I really enjoyed it. But that being said, getting into the actual story basis, of course, Oliver Queen is dealing with a lot of things. He's dealing with the guilt that he feels that he's keeping away, keeping these secrets of his, son away from Team Arrow. Of course, Thea, spoilers, eventually figures out the secrets that he's been keeping from Felicity specifically and the rest of the team. And it's very interesting to see how that continues to develop with this character, because, ever since the mid-season finale or the Flash Arrow crossovers we got last year, Oliver specifically has been dealing with the pain of having a son that he can't really call son, and the fact that he can't tell anybody that this person even exists, with the exception of now Thea and of course Barry. And it's very interesting to see that storyline develop, and now that the episode has cliffhangered and ended the way it did, it's going to be very interesting to see how, Oliver deals with the fact that there's this character that may or may not be here forever. And so it's going to be interesting with that whole front. Of course, the majority of the episode is very CW cheese, which I really didn't like. I always feel like whenever the Arrow writers really want to get straight up comic booky, and they're like, man, we're gonna do a whole, but we're gonna have the Green Arrow be the Green Arrow, and then like CW comes in with their writers, and they're like, there's too many superhero comic booky things. Let's have some relationship turmoil. Okay, let's see. Felicity, have a problem with Oliver. Oliver, have a problem with Felicity. Okay, Lance, the relationship with Felicity's mom, that really doesn't matter. Let's put some more, let's put some more screen time on that. Let's put some more screen time on that, because it's very important to know when Lance is not going to be with Felicity's mom anymore. It's very important to have fans know that. It's very important. No, it's not. I really didn't care about that. The whole Lance and Felicity's mom, ever since it's been conceived, the idea that those two characters are together in item really doesn't matter to me. I feel it's irrelevant. And as for freaking the Felicity Oliver stuff, when it pertains towards, this whole, him becoming mayor and their engagement and stuff, I can deal with, because it's an obvious setup / subplot for the season, so it's understandable. Although I really get the feeling that they might not get married this season. I don't know why, but every time I see those flash forwards of them at the cemetery, I just get this feeling like, man, like, something tells me their marriage is just not going to work out, and it might not end the way that all the Olicity fans really want it to end this season. That's just the way I see it. But we never know. This season could give us a really massive curveball, so anything could really happen, not to mention the fact that Flash, has the ability to, change time with his Speed Force or whatever, which is, occasionally becomes a stupid, story point, but whatever. It happens, so it's going to be very interesting how things progress with every single, plot line that they're trying to go with on Arrow, but at the end of the day, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought every actor performed very well. Every actor that I specifically don't even care for, like the characters of like Thea or Laurel and Captain Lance, I think they worked very well. The action was really great. The stunt work was great. The visuals were great. I mean, like, those battles alone was worth it in this episode, and to that cliffhanger with freaking Damien Dark having his clutches on William, Oliver's son, oh man, shit is going to go down. Although the teaser for next week kind of kills it, because it's like, at this point in time, now that Damien has his son, he can basically do whatever he wants to him. But why tell Oliver that you have his son? Granted, Oliver will figure it out eventually, but, he could have done anything to him in the span of, him figuring it out. But it seems like through the teasers that he kind of just comes right out of it and just says, it's like, hey, I got your son, fuck you, I'm going to kill you because I'm awesome and you're not. That's kind of how it comes off. At least that's the way I see it. But overall, this episode alone, really great. I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. It was a great episode. I really loved a lot of stuff they put in there. And I can't wait to see where this episode, specifically the William, Damien, and Oliver storyline continues from here. I'm just saying, he could be the one in the grave, so that's pretty much my number one suspect as of now. But let me know what you personally think. Speculations and comments down below. And of course, let me know what you personally think about this episode and everything that went into it. And of course, what are your personal thoughts on Felicity figuring out that Oliver was lying about having a son? I'm just saying, in the previous timeline, they kind of broke up until everybody died and the world exploded before Flash fixed everything. Spoilers on the fucking crossover episodes, but it's gonna be really interesting how she reacts to him having a freaking son this entire time in this timeline. So let's see what fucking happens. But that being said, comment below. Let me know what you personally think. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I hope you guys enjoyed, and this has been Josh12.